All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today's Monday, June 24th, 2024. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So, markets here today with a little bit of a decline, and it was led lower by the semiconductors. So, the market crashed, right? Because NVIDIA was down. So NVIDIA is the market. Everyone keeps telling me that the market cannot rally without NVIDIA. But that wasn't the case. NVIDIA down 5.5, and you're seeing the spiders here down just a whopping 10 basis points. That's it. And what have we been talking about here for the last couple of weeks? I said we'd likely see chips pull back after June OPEX, and you'd likely see rotation into this guy right here, the Russell 2000, up 75 basis points here today, with the Dow up another 75 as well. Triple Q's here down about 1%. So the breadth argument that has been beaten to death here, look at advanced decline, almost 400 advancers to 120, 125 decline. Take a look at the heat map. Looks pretty good. But the breadth argument that's been beaten to death here is falling apart pretty rapidly. Now, again, it's only been a couple days. I mean, even on Friday, we had outperformance there from the Russell. If it, it could fall apart tomorrow. That's certainly possible. But if this continues, where you see chips pull back, Qs pull back down, not sideways, and you see the Russell and the Dow sideways to up, not down, that's bullish. Now, the bears do have a window here. Post OPEX weakness. So they've got a window to do damage, but with NVIDIA down 5.5, this isn't really exactly like a huge victory here. So they're going to need to do a lot more than this if they're going to be able to make a move. And, with Apple, it was up a lot more. It did come back in off the highs, but with Apple kind of picking up some of the slack, even Tesla, up fractionally, picked up some of the slack earlier. As long as these other sectors here take over and kind of take up the mantle, again, chips can pull back here, and that's fine. And then when chips actually bounce, the rest of the market can rally. Now, I think we'll probably bounce a little bit tomorrow on the SMH. As you see, we're hitting that 20 MA. SOX, same thing. We'll probably get a bid. NVIDIA is down like 15, 16% off the high, so it'll probably get a little bounce tomorrow. You may see the Russell kind of stall out. Again, remember, volatility is pinned at the index level, meaning if one thing is down, another thing is going to be up, and vice versa. But if that's the case, that's fine. But the big picture, the big point is you want to see this continue sideways to up while chips continue down. And if that happens, it's likely the next pivot will be a higher low, and it's going to result in higher highs in the markets. So that is the big issue, or the big thing here for bears. You got to damage this chart before when? I'm going to say by 4th of July. So, and the reason for that is, and I'd actually say even by probably next Wednesday. So I'd say by Tuesday of next week, if we're not, if they haven't done some serious damage to this tape, meaning like, you break 53.25, I think the market will the volume will get light again. And by the way, it's pretty light right now. Even with the market down, we're only traded 30 million shares at 3:45 p.m. Even the Qs here selling off, we're just going to finish with basically average volume. So Qs down 1% on low volume. That's really not a big deal. But either way, the volume will dry up, and it's just going to favor neutral upside and summer doldrums type action, which is bullish. Now you do have PCE on Friday. So there is, inflation data. So I'd say that's probably the bear's best bet to really do some damage to this chart, but you have to damage it. A pullback isn't good enough, right? A lazy drift down into 53.50 or so is just not really going to cut it. So we need to see an actual, damage with volume, right? It's got to be accompanied by volume on the SPY with over 100 million shares. Otherwise, this is just a pullback here, and we'll likely continue with higher lows. And again, you also have to do damage to the Russell. You can't let that take leadership. You can't let the Dow take leadership. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Again, Q's pulling back. We'll see what we get tomorrow. Russell 2000, obviously green today. Dow green. SMH down 2 3/4. IGV down 1%, but not really anything wrong here. This should pull back off of this trend line here, but I'm expecting a higher low there and then a breakout. Big sector here. Heard the economy was crashing. I heard that the transports lagging was a divergence, a bear divergence. Well, now the transports are leading. So if you're saying it's a bear divergence, right, you have to also say it's a bull divergence on the other side. You can't have it both ways. So we had a bear divergence here in late May that everybody was talking about, and that led to a whopping 2-day decline in the S&P. Now we have a bull divergence here, higher highs on the transports, and the Russell 2000 and the Dow are holding up better than chips. So just keep that in mind. This is a hated sector. I talked about this 2 Fridays ago. I said, hey, did they just suck in all the shorts? Looks like they did. We got a higher high now. And I told you guys we want to get above 15.3. We're above, I said 15.2 to 15.3. We're above 15.2 now. But yeah, good price action here. And, I want to see this work its way back up to this pivot. Weekly chart looks a little bit better here, testing that weekly 200 moving average. So transport's holding up here and showing leadership. That's good. All right. So interest rates here, and we'll talk about Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin spiking below 60,000. But interest rates today kind of flat to lower. So nothing terrible here. I am watching this little falling wedge though, possibly building up on the 10-year. Right now, 420 is still support, but it's becoming minor because we're bear flagging above it. So we are consolidating possibly to break through that. But this is also still a possible falling wedge here. So it could just break down and then pop right back up. Again, I think PCE will decide direction on this. XHP here up 1.25, good pop. VNQ, another hated sector. This is threatening to break out here. I don't think it's quite ready yet, but it's getting close. So again, hated sectors, everything hated is rallying. XLF up 1.2%. Hated sector, KRE up 2.25. KBE, hated sector up 2%. Back above that trend line now. Broker dealers here, not a hated sector, but a strong sector, and up 1% on the day. All right, oil here. Actually, just speaking of biotech, another strong sector. I don't talk about this very often. And XLP2, still watching this wedge here. So there are sectors that are catching up here, even XLV near 52-week highs. And again, as long as we continue to see that, that's the bottom line. XLE, heavily shorted sector up 2%. XOP and OIH all having really big days. So I know I just went out of order there, but I wanted to comment on that. Crude up 1.25. I still think this is still pretty stiff resistance here in the short term. If it gets through at 84, though, 84 is your next level. All right, so now we'll skip around again and go over to CCJ, down 94 cents. Nothing really doing there. I do think momentum is declining on some of these. So uranium here looking a little bit on the weaker side, and it looks like it wants to enter correction mode here. I still think 23 is good support, though, for the NJ. Nat gas, I'm going to use the Q because we're going to roll in a few days. Really good bid here today, up 4%. Again, nothing I'm doing with this right now. I'd like it down around 260 for a bounce, but yeah, right now it's holding up. Really good bid there. Let me see. I think we hit a 618 today. Yeah, we pierced it. I pierced it on Friday. It's holding up. I'm not touching this right now, though. Dollar index pulling back today. Still pretty strong, though, and nothing wrong with this pattern. I think it's getting ready to break out. Gold here up 62 basis points. Nothing doing here. Still inside of this kind of bear flag type action here. So if this breaks, we're going down to 22.50. I do think it is setting up for a bigger move later in the summer. Same thing with silver. I think we're setting up for a move down, though. In the short term, platinum continuing higher, up 1.5%. Palladium was the big star of the day, up 5.5%. So good move there. Did it just pull the rug from double bottom? We'll see. But you guys know I still think it's very cheap down here and is intriguing. Copper down about a penny, nothing terrible. Again, still looking for 425 there. And then Bitcoin here, slicing through 60,000. And it's getting beat up. One thing I'm watching here, though, is we are now, not that it's anything like the be all end all, but you know, our daily oversold now. Last time we had a daily oversold RSI was, you know, down here, which led to a pretty good bottom. Granted, the conditions were a little bit different, but I'm kind of watching this for a 4-hour bounce now. Your 4-hour RSI is into the basement, and we did just hit a 786 too. We got a bounce, and now it's trying to bid down again. But volume picking up a little bit here, so it looks like stops are getting run a little bit. That's a good sign. Sentiment's starting to get real crazy to the downside too. And really, it's funny how bad sentiment is right now. I mean, you look at the weekly here, this is just backing and filling. So I think Bitcoin's very interesting right here, particularly around the 200. You got the 200 MA and then this pivot here. So I think Bitcoin's pretty much set up here. I like how it's grinded down and then you get this big spike down. It's usually a good sign that it's getting ready to flush people out. So I think this is getting ready for a good bounce here, but definitely on the weaker side here today. And we'll see if it gets into that 200 moving average or not tomorrow. But definitely good sell there for Bitcoin. And bounce targets, short term around 64. If it gets a more sustained bounce, we'll look at 67.5, 68. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good support down in this level. To me, it just looks like a shakeout. But good sell there for Bitcoin, and good volatility coming into the market. All right, so again, spiders a little bit on the weaker side as we get to the close here. Market's closing in about 5-6 minutes. Again, as long as the Dow and the Russell are holding up, XLE, XLF, Dow Transports, KRE, the housing, VNQ, all those having a good day. Biotech, XLP having a good day here. I think even XLY has had a nice rally lately. It is down today, but just good price action here across the board. And this is what you want to see. It's rotation. That's the lifeblood of the market. If that continues, I think we're going to put in a higher low and then push up one more time. But, to be fair, again, the bears do have a window here, but they've got to do damage, right? It can't just be these little light volume pullbacks. You gotta make a statement and actually damage this chart. Otherwise, we're likely looking at another higher low coming. So anyways, guys, gonna wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.